All right, even though I'm seemingly backlit, this seems to be the best light, right? Yeah, I think so. Can't find good light this morning. Man, are all my lights on? You know, I'm a melanated person. That's me setting up for my live. So I do a live most Mondays and Wednesdays. If I'm not teaching first thing in the morning, I go live on Instagram and YouTube and decode one of the books in my libraries and kind of break that down as a holistic practitioner so that you have real life examples so that you're able to overstand the topic matter, etc. So if you haven't joined in to one of my lives, please do, always at AlkaliYogi. That's my handle. Happy Monday. So as you can see, the weather is not great. However, we are officially 1 month away from spring. It is the 20th of February, which means that in 1 month's time, we will finally experience the spring equinox that we have been awaiting. The days are already getting significantly longer. Have you noticed? I certainly have. Yesterday, I left to go teach to begin my new 6-part workshop series. And I left the home at 4 o'clock and it was bright and sunny. It was a great weekend all around. And I saw people on the parkway walking in shorts and what have you. It was lovely. It was warm. But more than anything, like, it was extremely bright and sunny, and you could tell that the sun was still a couple of hours from going down. I still have not found the light that I'm crazy about, but in any case, anyways, happy about that. Happy that the days are getting longer, that the warm weather is creeping up. And basically this becomes a bit of an exciting time of the year, right? Especially once you get the taxes out of the way with. You kind of feel like, okay, this is the beginning of a new year. Let's get into it. Summer is coming. Well, spring break is coming, first and foremost. But loads of good stuff to look forward to. And on this early morning, it's 7:45, as you can see. I'm actually, in addition to getting ready to go live, I'm chopping up. I'm going to be making some cauliflower and some string beans. That's why I've got the 2 pans over there. I found some risotto that was frozen in the freezer, so I took that out. I'm also going to make a smoothie. She's busy, isn't she? She stays busy. So the risotto I'm going to use to complement the swordfish that we're going to have today with the rainbow colored cauliflower and the French style green beans. And I've got already a kale salad in the refrigerator. So I like to get my prep work done in the morning, unless I've done it like the day before. Like I try to keep Sundays and Wednesdays as like the major prep days where I do loads of chopping, loads of cleaning of vegetables and preparing and storing of vegetables so that I can just throw things into a pan when I need to saute or lightly cook them, or I can just keep them raw and throw them into a salad. So that's where I'm at. And I always, if you've been watching my videos for some time, you already know that I like to make more than one batch of food. And then what I end up doing is freezing some of it so that I've always got something in the freezer to pull from. And especially on the days where I'm extremely busy or I'm tired and just don't want to be making food, we've always got clean food in the house versus having to order in or get takeaway, which where I live, by the way, the pickings are very, very slim. Okay, she is no longer in Brooklyn. She's no longer in Crown Heights, where it was literally an abundance of amazing food, amazing selection. But it's great. No, this is, family life, and I'm happy to always be preparing, lovingly prepared, nutritious, mostly alkaline meals for us. So that's that. So I'm gonna do this, these vegetables, and I'm gonna put them on the in the pan so that they can slowly simmer, and then I can get on this live, which awaits me. And hopefully you'll be waiting me too on that live. Will you be awaiting me? You should. Finally, I found some decent light. This was the angle I needed all the whilst. Yeah. Oh Lord, you can tell I'm still a novice at this vlogging game. See you soon. These onions, boy, got me crying. You make me emotional. You got me feeling emotion. Wow. Talk about not being connected to my breath, my vocals not being warm. I'm scared. There's fear in my voice. Oh, no light. That's not even 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, yeah? You got me feeling emotions. No, she is not hitting that note. She's not finding it. She's also a little bit scared to be trying to hit a note that high this early in the morning before doing any kind of vocal warm-up. Tune that one. Tune. Tune, tune, tune. So, just transferring the shallots, onions, and garlic over to the one frying pan. This will be for the cauliflower. And the shallots and the onions will be for the string beans. Know what I mean, jelly beans? Will be for the string beans. Know what I mean, jelly bean? Oops. All right. Sorry, the Vitamix is blocking. All right, stand by. Huh, interesting. My phone is frozen. That's good. A new phone. That's good. Yeah. That's really good, guys. It's really good. You paid good money. That's really good. I don't know what to tell you. And it's still going. And it's still going. Tiger bear. As they would say in Petra. Tiger bear. Is you all gonna stay put? Hang out right there. And it's happened already a few times where I try to stop a function and it doesn't function. I wonder if I should exchange this phone. It's not being funny yet. Because literally I got this phone in November and it's only February. You know, for a steal of a price of what? $1,100, $1,200? Absurd. Absurd that this is what we spend on phones. And then you can't even stop recording when I ask you to. When I press the red button, which is designed to stop recording? Or is it because there are people watching on the other side that won't allow me to stop? NSA, is that you? Is that you, NSA? You infiltrated my phone. It won't be the first time something like that's happened to everyday citizens. This much onion. Need to conserve. Because these organic onions, this organic produce, this Celtic sea salt, this avocado oil, all of it in these inflated times, not exactly cheap. It's still necessary. So, you know, I have standards. This is my standards, not saying my standards are better than anyone else's. I'm saying I don't work off of goals. I work off, this is my standard. My standard is I have to have clean, organic nutrition daily. So that's not a goal I'm working towards. That's just merely a standard. You know, something that I've been practicing now for well over a decade. Cost of living is very high for me because, you know, my sheets are organic and non-toxic. My food is organic and non-toxic. Now my clothing is becoming organic and non-toxic. Shout out to Groceries Apparel and for reposting my post on your reels. Let's get together and work together, yeah? Let's do a partnership. You know, so it's that's what I do, and that's the cost of it. Pay now or pay later. That's what they say. My choice is paying now. have no intentions or plans to be on lifelong medication. It's absurd. Our ancestors were not on lifelong medication that mitigates symptoms only, that doesn't actually cure or reverse anything, and more importantly, does not address the underlying cause. What it was that initiated the symptomology completely overlooks that, which is insane. So of course, if you're going to overlook that which created the symptoms, then of course you're going to experience symptoms forever because you've not done anything to address the problem itself, have you? All right, I think we're in good shape here. Save those onions for something else, probably a salad that I'll make in the coming days. All right, have a look. I mean, can I flip it now? Still can't flip it. Man, all right, here we go, guys. This one is going to be, this one has the garlic, the shallots, and the onions, and this one will be for the cauliflower. And this one here just has the shallots and the onions, and this will be, whoops, this one will be for the green beans. All right, I have to find a way. All right, fam, so I've added the Celtic sea salt, as I'm sure you can see now, and the avocado oil. And this guy's gonna start sauteing, simmering very slowly. Same thing, salt and avocado oil. And as you can see, some chilies for the green beans. Ooh, little onion here that popped out. How did you manage to fall out? All right, there we are. Okay, so that's gonna do its thing. I wish I had taken this out yesterday, all day yesterday, which was Sunday. Yeah, I was like, let me check what's in the freezer. It's gonna help me out this week. Let me take something out, let me take something out. And sure enough, I forgot because I had brunch and then I had my workshop. It just slipped my mind. So I took it out this morning, but ideally I would have taken this out the day before. So that's my thing, is like, you know, trying to always prep as much as I can and kind of stay ahead of the curve. Because my whole thing is do less. Can you see my reflection? My whole thing in 2023 is going to be the path of least effort, doing less and getting more done, working smarter, not harder, having more downtime to yin and zen out. Yeah. And I pray the same for those of you that need the same as me, which is more downtime for more healing. That we all are able to cultivate that, carve that out and cultivate it in our lives. Can't see my face. Oh, there she is. All right, guys. See you soon. Well, sometimes even AlkaliYogi makes an error. No, of course. So I thought that the green beans would take up less room, so I put them in the more hollow, shallow pan. I'm trying to multitask. See, the onions and the shallots are nicely sauteed now. So I threw in the frozen French style beans. And here I was thinking that the cauliflower would be bulky and take up more room, and as you can see, there's actually loads of space here, so I could have probably put the cauliflower there and the green beans here. I think there was more of that in volume. But look at how fun this rainbow cauliflower is. In any case, shugariya lenmish, no problem, as you would say in Eritrea, dahan shugariya len. Ce n'est pas grave. We can still get it popping. So that's going to take care of itself, and man, it's time for me to get on this live. So food for today is taken care of. Timiskin. Just got to blend that, and then I'm really going live. Okay, so just setting myself up. Got my water. Got my brinky, which is beside me, but let's be honest, I'm not going to be eating this until I'm off the live. Organic mangoes, organic pomegranate seeds, and organic blueberries. Yummy, yummy, yummy for my tummy. Oh, I have to show you guys later what my family, my ride or dies in Norway sent us over the weekend. Some of my favorite treats. So I have loads of people that I love very, very much out in Oslo, and I've not made it out there. I've not made my annual trip to Norway now in a couple of years. It started with the, that thing, the vid. And then, I got married and moved to the DMV and building my business here, yada, yada, yada. So it just does not happen. And we've been blessed and very fortunate enough to be traveling quite regularly, actually, to Africa. So that's another reason why we've just not made it to Europe. But it's bittersweet because I do have people that I love there, and I definitely want to go out there sooner rather than later. But in the interim, they sent me a little care package, which I will share with you all later. All right, just closing down the workshop slides that I had up from last night. Let's get the StreamYard going. Hey, hey, mic check, mic check. Hey, hey, oh, 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 You know, as I do less and rest more, the other thing I'm honestly craving is getting back into vocal training, you know, for myself. Not even because I'm trying to get back onto the, you know, gig circuit or anything like that. I really just want to, you know, improve my voice, always make it better. Singing is such a release. It's a great way to like calm the mind, the spirit, yada, 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 you know, your heart rate, your breath, because you have to regulate those things. So yeah, that is what I want, is to find a great vocal coach out here, or a couple of great vocal coaches. Last time I took vocal lessons, man, it's been probably a good 5 years or so, was from this lovely Ukrainian couple, which is why I say vocal coaches, because I had this Ukrainian couple, husband and wife. She was like an opera singer, and you know, I think he helped her with that. He supported her career. I don't know if he was actually a performer himself, but he was the one on the keys. Very good ear, both of them, and really taught me a lot about restraint and holding back. I remember they said to me, I'm a little bit greasy, aren't I? They said to me that most singers on the charts are screaming, not singing. I'm like, they're screaming? And they were like, yes, they're screaming. This is not singing. I was like, okay then. Let's scream less and sing more. So it always makes me happy. Vocal lessons always make me happy. That's what I want. That's what I really want, guys. Let's get back into vocal training. I want to do less, make more, work smarter, not harder. Okay, I think I left off with mix your aerobics activities regularly, right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay. Let's moving on to circuit weight training today. Quite sure this is where we are. Oh, good. And then I can finish up this chapter. Bella, bella. Mishta? All right. So, see you later. Again. Stop. Good morning, fam. It is Tuesday. So, day one of vlogging yesterday ended abruptly. It was the 20th of February. And it was roughly, I don't know, 10:30 in the morning when I was informed that it was a holiday here. I knew it was already a holiday in Canada, specifically in Alberta. I don't think all provinces in Canada celebrate or observe Family Day. But yesterday was Family Day, so I knew my family was going to be off yesterday. And then to my surprise, when hubby came back from gym yesterday, he's like, yeah, I'm not working today. It's President's Day. And I was like, wait, what? Can we just hang out and watch The Sopranos then? Which we didn't end up doing. I was actually quite productive yesterday. I mean, we did. We watched 2 episodes and finally completed the Sopranos series in its entirety after almost, I don't know, 10 or 11 months of watching the show over time. Weird ending, guys. Those of you that have seen Sopranos, you know, I'm a fan. The series was great, but that ending, it's like they couldn't even be bothered. Yeah, they were just like, you know what? It's so stressful. We're not even gonna be bothered. So we'll just have a scene and we'll call the middle of that scene the end of the show. That's what it seemed like. Or is it just me? I don't know. But anyways, so we ended up doing that, but that wasn't until like 4:30. Prior to that, I was actually pretty productive. I had a live yesterday, as you guys know. And then I did some editing, some social media stuff. My vlog from last week, which I should have posted a couple of days ago, will be posted today. It was uploading all night, but there was like a copyright issue because I had some Netflix in the back. Oh my gosh, everyone and their copyright. Don't you want your stuff to be seen and heard? Anyways, neither here nor there. So I should have that up shortly. And that's really it, Tuesday the 21st, here we are. It's about 1/4 roughly. I'm going to teach a class, and then I'm going to walk myself over to a coffee shop. I brought Paul Chek's book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. So my desire is to sit down and read for a little bit over a coffee, maybe spend a good hour there. That's what I'm trying to do every week, is give myself 1 or 2 days at the coffee shop where I'm just reading. It takes me out of the house, gives me a different environment. I treat myself to a hot bevy. Life is beautiful. Let me tell you all about my sleep, yeah? My body, and you've heard me say this before, is a finely tuned machine at this point. And if I veer off its, sort of holistic path now, it does not mince words. It lets me know very quickly that it's a no-go, whether it was me indulging in a little bit of gluten, like literally the equivalent of like one pastry and a bit in Eritrea, and psoriasis is just but yesterday I had a salad with some corn chips, which obviously I didn't need to do. I'm supposed to be grain free right now. But I had some salad. It was around 7 o'clock in the evening. I wanted to have dinner with the hubby. It might have been 7:30. And I know I have zero business eating past 6 o'clock. So the salad with the chips around 7:30, which is 2.5 hours before bed. When I tell all of my clients, unless you're protein type, that you should not be eating those 4 hours leading up to bed. There I went eating, up until 2.5 hours before bed, and I paid the price. I had massive indigestion. I was up until 1 something in the morning. And, I was in bed nice and early. Lights out were at 10. But I didn't get to sleep. So now I'm feeling it. And I lost a night of repair and recovery. So I just, yeah, it's just a reminder that for me, anyways, not everyone's going to be as sensitive as me, but pretty much have to be dogmatic about, pretty religious about, the standards that I have chosen to adapt in my way of being. So no gluten, no grains, at least for a period of time, until my gut health has been restored, and that will be evident once the psoriasis is gone. And no eating before bed, like that 4 hour mark window. It's there for a reason. If I tell my clients, I know why. So that you're able to digest your food with adequate time, and then your body can go into rest and repair. Your body doesn't want to be up all night digesting food, which is what my body was doing. I'm sorry. Feel bad. Anyways, I'm a human. These setbacks and fallbacks happen. Even the lifestyle itself has to be even in terms of like my ability to, give myself grace for when I do mess up. I've got to give myself grace 80% of the time. So long as, I don't mess about or play about, I'll be able to handle the 20% of the time, like last night, which was a complete waste, unfortunately, of sleep. Meaning, not waste, it was a complete loss, rather, of healthy or restorative sleep. That's the word I'm looking for, restorative sleep. So that's my plan for today. Once I finish up at the coffee shop, I'm going to finally check out Mom's Organic in like the Delray area. I think there's one there. I don't know if there's another one, but I've seen one around Delray. I'm going to go have a peek, see if I can procure a couple of fruits and veggies for us. Primarily fruit. That's what we need. We don't have any fruit left for fruit bowls in the morning, so we need our mangoes, our berries, apples, yada yada yada. And then a couple of hours of studying this afternoon, and Bob's your uncle. Really, that's it. That's it. That's all. All right, guys, gotta go. I'm in this cool shop. Look at this. Isn't that cool? Yes, queen. Really cool shop. Ishay tells me that this is also local. I knew the mambo sauce was, but I didn't know that Old Bay seasoning is. And then I picked up some more of these because fam, can you hear me? Gut friendly because it is grain free. No refined sugars, no gluten, no grain, no soy, no GMO, no chemicals, no dairy. Pay attention. You can have clean sweets. Organic coconut sugar, alkaline. Organic avocado oil, alkaline. Organic eggs, not alkaline, but still. I'm actually not opposed to eggs, especially if they're pasture fed. Non-GMO almond flour. Organic vegan organic vegan chocolate. Peanut butter, non-GMO. Organic cocoa powder. Ashwagandha root. Now, you know these people love humanity. They put ashwagandha root, which is known to help with anxiety. A little bit of medicine in your sweets. Vanilla extract, cacao extract, sea salt. This is what I'm talking about. I don't know these people, but I know I'm down with these products. I would like to thank you. You can find clean snacks. They're not cheap, but they're out there. Sometimes you have to look. And don't forget that a piece of fruit is a snack as well, yeah? I picked these guys up as well because I thought, how fun. So I'm going to have these on the weekend. I've got smoked salmon for the guys, but that's going to be... I used to live by a place in Brooklyn on the corner of St. John's and Washington. A great little vegan cafe shop, which now is only down in Essex Market. And they were doing amazing, amazing things. Oh, what was the name of that place? I'm going to find it, then I'm going to pull it up for you guys. I'm going to put it here. Bam. These guys have a cheese selection like no other. Their, quote unquote egg salad made with chickpeas and pasta, incredible. Their tuna, I'm not sure what their tuna salad was made of, incredible. This is where I am. I like it. Guys. I'm going off into here. I'm going to grab a coffee. I've got one of my Paul Chek books on me, so I'm going to study some Paul Chek stuff here. Bye. Gonna have a coffee. Oh, this is cute for cherry blossoms, which if you don't know are a big thing here in DC come springtime. That's cool, hey? Cute little packaging. So this coffee shop holds those same snacks. The Rouhani functional brownie, it's called. I like that. But I picked some up from next door, so I'm gonna eat one of those. Just eating the gluten with my eyes. Looking good. I wonder if I'll ever be able to find a grain-free croissant. Is that asking too much? I found vegan croissants. Oh, hang on. New drink alert. Am I going to switch it up? None of that actually sounds very appealing to me. So it's a no for me. It's a no today. You already know. I'll check day in and day out. Check in with you all later, yeah? Hey guys. So it's 12 noon on Tuesday. I'm just leaving the coffee shop. As you can see, it's a beautiful day. It is currently 16 degrees centigrade. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but I'll find it for you and I'll add it. Yeah, so it was really nice. Took another deep dive into Paul Chek's phenomenal book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. And what I love about this book is that even though I'm enrolled at the academy and getting like all the in-depth science training through the science courses like scientific back design and scientific program design, etc., hopefully you guys can hear me okay. There's still so much that the average lay person can gain, and even an already enrolled student at the academy who's also a practicing practitioner already. There's so much, it's a wealth, it's an abundance of amazing tips that I'm confident and I'm being very conservative here, very, very conservative with this number, if 70% of the population were gifted, if 100% of the population were gifted this book, and then 70% of them, no, this is all wrong, incorrect math, scratch, start over. Let me begin anew. What I'm trying to say is that 70% of all ailments out there, and this is a conservative number, probably closer to 85% of all symptomology, disease, and other sufferings that people are experiencing would be annihilated, not by an inoculation, but by behavioral modifications and utilizing sound, right knowledge, which is hard to do, I understand, because they intentionally put bogus studies out to confuse us so that we don't follow our intuition, which is a very gentle, soft nudge that's often, somewhere deep within our gut that's like, They're still doing research on whether sugar leads to obesity. I think we know that to be true already, don't we? And so silliness like that, Apparently Big Food spends 11 more times on lobbying, things like the Pediatrics Association of America, and funds ridiculous studies, for example, on whether obesity is actually a direct cause of, overconsumption of processed foods and sugar. You don't need a clinical trial to prove that to you. You can do one so long as it's not biased, but because they're oftentimes funded, 11 times more funded, right, by Big Food, what do you think the results are going to yield? Things that are obviously in their favor, at the very least, make you doubt that 1 + 1 = 2.
No, processed food companies contribute 11 times more money to nutritional research in the United States than the NIH. They're basically processed food companies are funding research. And the direct strategy was to fund thousands and thousands of studies to complicate the issue. Still, to this day, elite research institutions are putting out studies questioning whether sugar causes obesity. Right? So it's mass confusion.
Anyways, let's lighten it up, shall we? That's not the point. Point is a great book, and I pray that all schools and institutions of higher learning would equip their students, young and old alike, with, the tools and the empowerment that they need to restore their health and well-being by doing simple things like eating the correct fuel, the right time, drinking quality hydration in correct quantity, having a positive mindset, managing and coping with stress, moving, getting enough movement in to facilitate the oscillating pumps of your body, which include regulation of circulatory system, of the respiration system, your heart pump, etc., your digestive system, sleeping, going to bed early, getting the right amount of sleep at the right time. It's not rocket science. They want to make it so complicated because that creates confusion, and then it's easy to create fear from confusion, then it's easy to control, and then all of a sudden you have people depending on entities. Sometimes they're elected, other times they're self-appointed, for things that we shouldn't be relying on them for. We are responsible for ourselves to a great degree, right? And especially the entities that have been elected in, they're here to serve us, not control us and hold our hands. On the contrary, we need to be telling them, change your food pyramid around. It's complete rubbish.
We're your government. Put this into your body. Is it good for me? No, it's bad for you, but we're telling you it's good for you. It's terrible. Of course, we all know our government, beloved individuals that they are, they would never tell you to take something that's bad for you. And they would certainly never tell you taking something that's bad for you is actually good for you. They would never do that. We know certain things they've maybe done that with, but then there's also food. Now, I've personally been studying nutrition for 21 years at this point. There's a great video displaying some interesting findings. In this video, we'll take a look at together. It's from Jesse Waters of Fox News, taking a look at the government's recommendation, the food pyramid funded by food industry, which has our government really pushing on the beautiful freedom lovers of America, the idea that junk foods are actually good for you, and then good, healthy, nutritious foods, meat and eggs, those are the bad ones. You don't want to eat those. And of course, we'll talk about why this deception is happening, and we'll speculate why else this deception might be happening.
We're onto something big here, and it affects all of you. It's the food pyramid, which turns out is a pyramid scheme.
That is well said. In fact, it is a pyramid scheme funded by the food industry, propagated by the government.
Big Food has been buying off scientists to study some of their unhealthiest products and recommend them as a crucial part of a healthy diet.
No, but science is science. Like, you can't, you can't pay scientists to find certain things that you want them to. That's not how science works, is it? It is? Oh, very good.
So now, we have a brand new food pyramid where frosted mini wheats are healthier than grilled chicken.
Sugar and processed grains are healthier than chicken. Is that so?
Swear. Primetime decided to dig into this little study today, and it was done by researchers at Tufts University, a safety school.
It's a university. We can't question them. They're scholarly folks majoring in gender science.
And paid for by Fauci's cabal over at the NIH, the
Feels more trustworthy now.
So-called National Institute of Health. It claims that foods we thought were healthy, like meat and eggs, are terrible for us, and recommends replacing them with junk food, manufactured by America's largest food conglomerates. See where this is going?
Follow the money. Interesting. But I think there's something else to follow we'll get to.
According to these new recommendations, we should moderate our consumption of eggs, cheese, ground beef, and rice, and replace them with foods that are more profitable for the food industry.
And if you look at the bottom of the food pyramid, processed sugar, processed grains, that is how you get diabetes. That's how you become insulin resistant. That's how you become very overweight. That's how you cause major oxidative stress in your cardiovascular system. If you look at the bottom of the food pyramid, you don't see complete proteins in there whatsoever. Nor do you see anything that native human beings would have been eating thousands of years ago when they were just living off the land, which some would speculate people out in nature eating a natural diet is kind of like what we're designed to eat.
Like frosted mini wheats, Cocoa Puffs, chocolate-covered almonds, and peppermint lattes. What about clean, healthy proteins like chicken, beef, and shrimp? Well, they want us to cut back on that. Cocoa Puffs are just as healthier than lean protein.
Actually healthier. More of them are suggested.
Now the government won't tell you this, but most of these junky foods they're pushing also just happen to qualify for food stamps. And you can't buy healthy food with food stamps, but you can buy as many chocolate-covered almonds as you want. And so the guys over at General Mills and Kellogg's hear this, and they know their money for studies at Tufts.
By the way, General Mills, Kellogg's, funding studies like this, they're in the business of grains. If you look at the U.S., there's far more grains grown here than any other type of food. So it makes sense why people making money from grains, specifically ones that become processed garbage, would fund studies to tell you to essentially buy more of their food. 6 to 11 servings of grains every day. It's like 6 to 11 servings of processed grains in a month. That's too much. But just do it every day. That'll be the right amount, right?
And grants to Dr. Fauci have paid off. So did they put these scientists up to it? And what about the NIH? Did they sign off on this? Did Fauci?
As corrupt as this is, this is the least evil thing those guys have done, so they kind of get a pass in my book.
They won't comment. Tufts won't comment. NIH won't comment. Rich companies are paying for fake science so they can get richer and you can get fatter, and the government is in on it.
Little does Jesse Waters know, Fauci is the science. So it's not fake science if it comes from Fauci. All of Fauci's scientific perspectives have come true, right? If you censor everything else that everybody else says, then it looks like Fauci's perspectives have come true. Usually the degree of truth something has, it's very proportional to the amount of censorship censoring other claims.
And it's working nearly everywhere. Every school, hospital, prison cafeteria, they all get the same stuff and the same guidance. And it's not going to end here. Soon, we're all going to be eating frosted mini wheats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And crickets too, but also not on my watch. Why? Because I'm personally someone who can think for myself. I think you're someone who can think for yourself. Over 20 years ago, I read a book called Food Politics, and it really outlines exactly what Jesse Waters is saying. So there's no question, the food industrial complex, the pharmaceutical industrial complex, they're very motivated to make money. I have a hard time believing that money is the only motivation. For a government to just be willing to propagate very deceptive misinformation that will result in people getting sick, disease, having a low quality of life, low energy, poor mental focus, being overweight, I have a hard time believing that that's their only willingness to compromise. So what else might be the motive? Well, you might not see it, but I regularly wear a tinfoil hat because it helps block me from the narrative. That's the beauty of tinfoil hats. They don't let the narrative in, so you can think more clearly. So when I wear my tinfoil hat, based on how things look, and I could be wrong, but based on how things look, it looks like there's a deliberate attempt to weaken Americans, weaken their minds, weaken their bodies. Now, if you want to weaken a population so you can control them, you got to weaken both. If you look at the narrative, what's coming at people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week via the news and other propaganda, That is mental junk food. It makes people incredibly weak, not only because they start to believe deceptive narratives as though they're true, but it also means they're not using their own thinking to navigate their lives. So that thinking muscle gets weak, it gets lazy. So people become weaker mentally from the junk food of propaganda. But then physically, if you look at foods that literally make people strong, they literally build muscle, which makes people physically strong. Foods with complete proteins, eggs, protein, animal-based foods, especially like grass-fed animal-based foods. If you start telling people those are actually bad for you, now you're getting them to believe what makes them stronger will actually make them weaker. And then you're telling them the foods that will make them weaker, a bunch of processed grains, sugar, tell them those are going to make you stronger. Now they're looking at the medicine as though it's a poison, and they're looking at the poison as though it's a medicine, which results in weak people physically. If you combine that with the mental junk food of the narrative and propaganda, you have someone who is mind-body weak.
Anyways, neither here nor there. Let's keep it lighthearted, yeah? So, who of you all watching tuned into the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion part 1 on Sunday night? I have been eagerly awaiting this reunion to begin because, you know, last weekend was Super Bowl, so obviously they delayed by a week. They had postponed it, but came back on Sunday and it was good. It did not disappoint. And because I'm in Arlington, I feel compelled to bring up Ashley Darby in that situation. Can we just all agree that rich people stay rich by being cheap? No, I'm just kidding. Not even by being cheap, but generally protecting their wealth. The fact that, from what I understand, what I understand, and I'll use understand rather than overstand because I don't know her personally, and obviously what's on the telly is very edited and yada yada yada. But so from what I understand, she had a 5-year prenuptial agreement to her husband, and then that would have expired a couple of years ago, or several years ago now, and yet she still walks away with nothing. That's some pretty impressive-ish. And, you know, when they got together, she was very, very young. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like she told us she was 22 or 23. She mentioned that, I think, like in another season altogether. It might have been earlier on in one of the first seasons. Because I know they've been together for nearly a decade or slightly over. So it's my belief that they got together around the age of 22, 23. Very young, impressionable woman. Probably didn't have the resources or the wisdom even at that time to get herself a great attorney. He preyed on that. Preyed as in P-R-E-Y. He preyed on that and hired himself, obviously, a top-notch attorney. So even though her quote-unquote, prenuptial agreement, quote-unquote, expired years ago, she still doesn't get anything. I mean, it's the caucasity of it all for me. I mean, I feel bad for her, and I'm not even all that mad at him because he's kind of just given us the codes, hasn't he? This is how you do it. You know, if you have wealth because you either were born into it or, better still, you earned it for yourself, and you can really appreciate what it took for you to create, you know, this wealth for you and your family, so, you know, generationally they can enjoy this. Yeah, you better learn how to protect your ish. You better learn. And she has a lot to take from this experience. I think we could all learn. When she went up there and said that despite her
prenuptial agreement having expired, that she still wasn't walking away with real cash for monthly payments. My heart broke for her. You know, I mean, she's going to get child support. She has 2 children by him. Look at me gasping. She's going to get child support, but guys, that's it. Like, you know, she'll be okay. She's young, she's beautiful. If you ask me, she won't even be single. 5 years. You know what? 3 years. I say in 3 years, she'll either be remarried or in another situation with someone else who will take good care of her. She looks better than ever. You know, she's bubbly, she's fun. She's got her own thing going, right? She is, after all, a public person. So she's going to be desirable for... Sorry about that. She's going to be desirable for many, many reasons to many, you know, many suitors out there. Yeah. So she'll be okay. I was just like, wow. No matter how, quote unquote, safe you think you are because you married a really wealthy person, you need to have your own. You need to do for yourself because they're going to protect themselves. God forbid, should things change, they're always going to protect themselves and their wealth for their future offspring. If they're smart, which most, you know, wealthy people are, you know, given those codes early on in terms of how to grow and then protect their wealth. So she's learned a huge lesson. I've learned. What did you learn? You know, you always need to have something for yourself, especially if you have become accustomed to a particular way of life. And she's been living a particular way of life for a decade. You know, living in a penthouse, not knowing what a bill looked like for the past decade, not worrying about a grocery bill, an electrical light bill, probably not even a mobile phone bill, certainly not a car note. Do you know what I mean? So, but again, she should be okay. She's got her check from the show. She, I'm sure, has brand deals and sponsorships. After all, she's, you know, a public figure with a whole check mark next to her name so far as her social media profiles. But, whew! I always think about her when I'm in Arlington. I'm like, I wonder if I'll run into her. You know, I wonder if she'll take one of my yoga classes one day, which would be kind of cool. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you think. Were you surprised, shocked, taken aback, floored? Or were you like, yeah, I saw that coming? And what do you think we need to do as women who may at times marry up into, you know, wealthy situations? Put it in the comment section.
Okay, I'm in Delray. Finally going to check out Mom's. Ooh, I forgot the bags. First of all, I don't even think I parked in the right place. Been hearing about Mom's for ages from both the hubby and even some of my clients. You know what? Let me just pull the car around. I think I parked behind the grocers and they have like other retail shops there. I wouldn't want to risk a ticket, but also, although I'm not expecting to be carrying a heavy load, it's probably best if I just bring the vehicle around. Let's see what it does, this Mom's. Hoping to find more affordable pricing for all of our organic groceries. I'm here. Let's see what good things I find. Okay, right off the bat, I love this. In case you forgot to bring some reusable bags, bam. Okay, family owned. We love to do it. This actually really reminds me of the Park Slope Co-op, of which I was a member at, in Brooklyn. Shout out to the Park Slope Co-op and its original founders and what it's for. And also a bit of Community Natural Foods, of which I had the pleasure of working at and
I've been supporting as a business for over a decade anytime I'm in Calgary. I like a lot. All produce is certified organic. You love that. You love it. I'm gonna take my time and kind of just saunter, go in and out today with, no rush. No rush. Grape tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. Which ones are these ones? Cocktails. I think these ones are the $5 ones. So which ones are the cherry? These ones? But where are the grapes? Are these the grapes? Grapes are actually the ones that I need. Grape tomatoes. Okay. So I'm picking up some of this stuff because it's. I like to give this to Coco, my bonus son, because frankly, I'm not a proponent of, I'm not a big supporter of cereals, obviously, but as far as like cleanliness goes, this is probably as clean as you're going to find. Whole grain brown rice, organic coconut sugar, which is whatchamacallit, alkaline. Organic cacao, sunflower, unrefined salt, organic sunflower again, lecithin, and tocopherols, vitamin E. So, at least it's gluten-free, sweetened with alkaline coconut sugar, and I picked up some of this as well. I love Purely Elizabeth. I got put onto them whilst working and shopping at the Park Slope Co-op. I'm sure these other brands are really good too. I don't know, maybe because it's the English version of my namesake. And they have grain-free, which, as you may or may not know, is what I'm doing right now. It's like nice and quiet and spacious. Ooh, let's go have a look at their nut milks. I see nut milks all the way down there. So this is really a thing right now. Mealworms and crickets. Okay, this is part of the gluten-free section, as you can see. Looking for maybe some paleo grain-free snacks in case of an emergency. In case of an emergency, tear here and enjoy. That's pretty much what I'm looking for right now. Hang on, are these gluten-free though? That's dope. But I need grain-free. That's what I need. Right now, it's requiring a little bit more awareness. Oh my gosh, I have been on the hunt for coconut milk that is in a BPA free and free of gum. Look, even this one has gums. See what I'm saying, guys? Oh, man. Sure, it's great that it's organic, but can we get no guar gum and also BPA free lining? What does this have in it? Okay, water, but I can definitely see myself adding this grocer to my shopping regimen because they do have things here that I don't see in the other places that I shop at. Like I finally found quinoa flour. Finally, I've been on the hunt for it for some time, and they have it here, and it's organic. And then I was also looking for chickpea flour that was organic, and I couldn't find any, so I ended up getting non-organic chickpea flour, which is it was very difficult for me to do. But yeah, loads of fun stuff here, hey? The vlog is live. Here I am, chewing and eating, trying to do it all at once, but finally, after a couple of attempts, I managed to get the first vlog for 2023 up, and it's titled Bringing Back Vlogs. Bringing Back Vlogs, number 1. Groceries plus intentionally following the path of least effort in 2023. I hope you guys enjoy it. If
you're wondering what I'm eating, it's kale salad with tuna. It's really the first meal I've had today, and it's 3:20. So anyways, going to do a bit of studying, and then I'm going to give myself grace and have a long evening today, a long wind down, because remember, she did not sleep due to indigestion last night. I'll probably have some fruit between 5 and 6, and then it's a wrap. Okay? We're not eating anything else. We're going to bed and we're going to sleep well like a baby tonight. Bye. Hey guys. It is Wednesday, shortly after 1. I have just finished teaching, and I'm on my way home. And I did not come online earlier today because although I had a better night's sleep, I just wasn't feeling 100%. You know, I'm working through some belly and gut things right now, and you know, I know what I need to do. What I need to do is, you know, be very intentional about my food intake and the times that I'm eating at, as well as getting to bed on time, etc. So that's kind of been, and just doing less, a little bit less, you know. I want this year to be the path of least effort, 2023, you know, where I get the most done with the least amount of effort and work. So I kind of took a couple of hours to myself this morning to just watch a little Netflix. You know, I mean, I was up since 6, and in the kitchen doing what I needed to do, and then I just gave myself on this Hump Day Wednesday the permission to watch a little Netflix until I had to come and teach. I was going to go for a walk, but actually I had left my coat in the vehicle, and the hubby was out and about this morning, so I was sans coat for this Feb weather, which is actually quite nice. It's quite mild. Calgary, minus 26. What? I checked this morning. No bueno. No bueno. Even though it's all love, I would still move back to Calgary if that were an option with my hubby for a short period of time, you know. But because there's a lot of stuff happening in Canada, which won't get into, because I want to keep this light and chipper. So, you know, this morning, is this person trying to turn here? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah, so this morning I just did a little bit of Netflixing and chilling. I've decided to make it a proper Hump Day Wednesday, and just give myself that permission. Plus I have some check calls later today, so it's not going to be without work. I do have a webinar to tune into actually at 3 o'clock, so in less than a couple of hours. I'm gonna go home and make some lunch, and then take that webinar, and then maybe do a little bit of studying, and then, you know, it's Wednesday, so Married at First Sight. But I won't get into Married at First Sight because this whole, we're down to 90 minutes. I'm fairly certain their whole thing is to make it so that there are 40 episodes this season. So yeah, you're not going to get anything from me today about Married at First Sight. But I will tell you what I was Netflixing and chilling on, and that was H&M, Harry and Meghan. Now the docu-series came out in December, so I've actually already watched it. But seemingly I find comfort in just watching it, because it's on Netflix and it just plays without commercials, so there's that. Whereas when you're on YouTube, you're always like having to skip this ad and, you know, turn down the volume because it'll be like jarring. You're watching something at one volume, and then if you didn't know this, then here's some information for you. When the commercials come on, they intentionally increase the decibels, so to like make you pay attention, even though it's horrible for our central nervous system and it's kind of frying our central nervous system as well as our eardrums. They don't care, and you shouldn't expect them to care. You know, your elected officials for the most part don't care. Corporations, privately owned corporations, don't care for the most part. You know, these are not absolute statements, but you need to care for yourself. So When I really, really want to relax, YouTube doesn't cut it. I need to be on like an app where I don't have adverts, and Netflix is one of those apps for me. And also just like there's such a romantic, their romantic story is such a big part of that docuseries for me that I watched it again for the second time. And then earlier, I did catch Kojo, Little Black Book 91 was on earlier, and he said something. He was on a live, and I caught it just before work, where he was like something about when you intellectualize the hate, it's a self-defense mechanism, right? When you intellectualize the hate. And this go around, I rewatched the H&M docuseries, and I realized that I had been doing a certain amount of intellectualizing why I didn't want to like Meghan Markle. Not that I know her or will ever meet her. She doesn't really my kind of pain. I get it. So why are we even speaking about people that we don't know? It's banter. It's to keep it light and cheerful. It can't always be heavy. So I realized that I was doing a bit of that, and I own that. And I think I was doing it because, frankly, she has gone through a difficult time for sure. I don't think she's 100% innocent. I don't think that she's a saint or anything. I certainly am not going to make her an idol or, prop her up to be perfect or anything of the sort. But I was like, I kind of allowed myself to get swept up in the social media narrative, and primarily the mainstream media negative. I allowed myself to be swept up in the mainstream narrative, which always picks a side now, because we no longer have free press. I don't care what anyone says. There are very few free press outlets, is what I'll say. But the mainstream media, the ones that are all sponsored by the big pharma, big food, big tech, those ones don't offer any kind of objective journalism, which is bizarre, because you could literally look back 15, maybe not 15, maybe in the 90s and 80s, and to some degree you still saw integrity at least. It wasn't perfect, but you saw some integrity of journalists who weren't saying the following: if you don't take you shouldn't go into a grocery store, and how are we going to put up with you guys? And we don't want to tolerate you. We should just put you on an island. And you shouldn't be allowed to go here and do that. And the fact that we were listening to this nonsense in 2020, 2021, some of 2022, and now they're asking for amnesty, there will be no amnesty. Because the kind of vitriol that journalists who are 100% bought and paid for, Anderson Cooper himself gets, what was it, $7 million or so of his income comes from Big Pharma. So, not to call him out only, because I know Lemon and all those guys, all of them, they're just whatever. They're not journalists, because they all have such a strong viewpoint. When to be a journalist is to give the populace, the information to the best of your ability, all of the information, and allow for the general public and allow for the general public to make up their own minds on how they feel about things. Not for you to brainwash and indoctrinate and to push your agenda, or whomever else's agenda it might be, or your personal opinions on that matter. When I think of great journalists like Dan Rather and other people that don't come to mind right now, maybe Peter Jennings, he's Canadian also, I don't remember them reporting the news like that. What are we going to do about these how are we going to put up with them? Do we tolerate them? Should they come to school? Should we allow them to be part of society? What kind of nonsense? And if you don't see that, that's problematic. Maybe you're really young and you don't know anything else, but I can tell you this is not journalism, this is not free press. And that's how you know that we are very clearly making our way towards some form of communism. I don't know if it's going to look like China's per se, or like North Korea, but 100% we are. And I'll go back and forth with anyone, because the proof is in the pudding. The censorship, the corruption that's out in the open, the fact that corporations, big tech and big pharma,
Big Food can all lobby and literally set the guidelines and regulations for the American Pediatrics Associations, for the American Dental Association, for that support that are the biggest contributors for companies or entities rather like the WHO, the World Economic Forum, who control what is being said and how it's being said, and are wanting everyone to act and behave the exact same way. And if you don't, they gave you a taste of what that was going to be like. In Canada, you couldn't walk anywhere that was a public place without a QR code. Okay, I lived through that. You couldn't board a train, you couldn't board a flight, even domestically. And even if you could, you weren't even allowed to leave the country, okay, for a period of time. True story. You weren't allowed to gather. Okay, so that was a test run after 9/11, if we're being honest, which is really when we started to give up our rights en masse. And we're like, oh yes, please protect us from terrorism. Here, we don't need any privacy. Set up. They have to give you something to fear so that they can then justify their employment and their ability to infringe on your civil rights and privacy rights, etc. But they have to first create fear, right? And they created the fear. And if you looked well into the thing, apart from the fact that a lot of people have now come forward and confessed, math was not mathing anyways. Things were not adding up and making sense to begin with. But of course, that stuff never gets any adequate time on any real, cable network because, cable news outlet, because, then their whole thing would fall apart and people would have to question, well, why do we even have governments if they can be bought and they're not going to be serving the people if they're only self-serving themselves, serving themselves, and or the corporations that they are, that they've been bought by, then why do we even have them at the end of the day? Same thing with the monarchy. Why is there even a monarchy? Who do they serve? The Queen, when she passed, when she transitioned, was worth 80 million pounds. Or was it 80 million? 80 million, 80 billion, that's with a B for Bravo, 80 billion pounds or dollars. So why do you then go and have charities and causes where you're taking photo ops and your whole family is doing the same, when we know that behind the gate you're served hand and foot, you are, wealthy because of the enslavement and the oppression of the people in the Commonwealth countries, even till this day, that you're still sitting on and holding on to art that does not belong to you, and gems and what have you, and you're drawing attention to respectable causes or charitable causes, but truthfully you could not live off taxpayer money and turn over your wealth into something to benefit humanity rather than hoarding the wealth and then trying to keep that wealth from being spoken about and it being for public consumption, the knowledge of that wealth, right? Did you all know that she was worth 80 billion? That's either pounds or dollars, I'm not sure, but the point is that there's a B, okay, in front of that illion. Anyways, so that was a long-winded way of saying that, I'd kind of allowed myself to get caught up in that because there was huge vitriol being spewed by all mainstream media here and in the UK to sort of deter people or put people off of this docuseries or to further ostracize this family, etc., etc. And there's probably an element of truth to some of the things that were said. I can't speak to what degree. Obviously, I don't know any of these people. I don't know Megan. Maybe she can be a little bit rude and difficult. I don't know. That was, one of the things that Harry's brother complained about. I don't know. But by
I do know that no one is perfect, and neither are they. So to be casting stones, as they say, from a glass house doesn't make sense. But then to go on such a, an evident sort of, plan of attack to destroy this woman at any cost. This young man who comes out of that family loves this woman very much, chose her to be his wife, courted her, chose her, and then married her, and now has a family with her. She has 2 small little kids. Who would win exactly if she did take her own life? God forbid. So I allowed myself to get swept up in that initially after watching the docuseries the second time, then after watching a bunch of videos, even on YouTube, where everyone from Fox to MSNBC to YouTubers like body language experts and the panel guys and yada yada all went in again, seemed to be on the very same agenda, seemingly. No one really had anything different to say, except for Kojo, except for Little Black Book 91, who I will say he did a couple of videos on it and offered a different perspective. But Kojo is, whilst he's a successful YouTuber, he's probably not been approached to sell his soul, and I don't know that he would, even if he were. He is very much a person of Christian faith, so maybe he would not sell out anyways. So in just listening to him, and he has boots on the ground. I lived in England, and it was, like I said many times, the best years of my life. But I'm not there now. I do know how awful they can be as far as the press goes. I'm sure they are destroying her. So for him to be there and provide a different perspective, maybe because there are a few outlets that are not mainstream that are in fact defending Harry and Meghan. He speaks always intelligently about whatever topic matter he takes on. So even though I may not always agree with him, he does make me always ponder and contemplate things, because he comes from an intelligent, for the most part, an intelligent perspective, I think. Just as a human, not even as a fellow YouTuber, but just like as someone who's compassionate, who's very human and believes in treating others humanely, etc. And so the second time around, I kind of watched it with a bit more grace. And I still picked up elements of, I don't know that people actually speak in this intonation. There's probably some element of acting, but that's going to come with any major production, right? When you consider they were paid what, like 100 million or 150 million. When you're looking at numbers like that, they're going to need a product that serves their investment, that meets their return on investment. So there were definitely, I think, some elements of coaching, acting, rehearsal in the language and in the way that it was presented. I wouldn't say it was all done off the cuff. Like, you can see I'm doing things off the cuff because I mince my words, I stutter, I'll have to repeat myself at times, I go off on these long tangents, yada yada yada, right? But when something is like highly produced, it's very clean and tight, and they need to get to the point quickly, and the language has to be very clear, and there has to be the right emotion for the right story, recounting of events, the right gestures, right movements, and what have you. And some of those gestures may have been contrived, and that's okay. Again, they're also under a great deal of pressure to meet their contractual obligations. So definitely there is some element of acting. But besides that, I still have to acknowledge what the royal family is about, and that they are about privilege, not because God granted them or chose them or separated them as people who are above any of his other children, because God simply doesn't do that. God is love, and love integrates, love brings together opposite of love would be separation, fear, division, right? So we know that love is not those things, therefore God is not those things. And if you know anything about the history of this royal family and others, you know, it was through very sort of violent, they managed to secure this place that they were not born into, because no one is born into such a thing. If you go back far enough, right, it seems like that now because they've been doing this for centuries, but if you go right back to the beginning, everyone's born the same, it's naked, everyone will die, and then we'll be naked again. But, you know, it's the people that organized and mobilized and stole, raped, pillaged, oppressed, murdered. Every royal family has this in their bloodline, because there's no such thing as a royal bloodline. If you take any of their blood and place it underneath a microscope, it's not going to differ. You know, there's no such thing. Granted, they do breed more internally, but then so do other cultures. Muslims, I believe the Amish, excuse me if I'm wrong, maybe Mormons, I don't know. But they're not the only ones that breed internally. So, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, the Queen's consort, her husband, was he not a cousin of hers, second or third down the line? I'm not sure. Anyways, and also they're not actually technically English. This family also originates from Germany. So, but it doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. I don't support any royal families. I don't believe in it. It's foolishness. And if we were in the dark ages, I might do, but we're not in those ages. We're in the information age. And more importantly, we're in the spiritual age, and there's a spiritual awakening. And in understanding what I do about nature and the little that I understand about God, the little bit, right? I know that there's no such thing. My mind is probably not going to change on that. So because of that, like I know that these people have, you know, a great desire to uphold this very dated and useless institution, because it protects their privilege, their power, and their wealth. And who doesn't want that? Just like the billionaires have the WF, which is you own nothing and be happy about it, and set agenda, right? Because they want to own everything and have all the power, and just have you be a happy worker bee and, you know, not complain and just get on with it, just crack on. These people want the same thing. This monarchy wants the same thing, and that's why, again, these photo ops and their charitable, you know, partnerships are a piss take. They're nothing short of a piss take, because they are served hand and foot. You know, they have wealth beyond measure that was stolen, that was not acquired by their own means, but it was stolen, meaning they didn't have intellectual property that allowed for them to become wealthy. They didn't sell something that they rightfully owned. No, they stole land, people, resources, no cap. That's how they got to be who they are. So for me, it's not surprising that this machine is now in place that would want to destroy anyone who is going against them, right? Because they are fighting to preserve their ability to oppress and suppress. And that's just human nature. Now, again, I'm not saying that there isn't any validity to anything that they're saying about Meghan and Harry. And truthfully, if we're being honest, Meghan and Harry didn't even want to be out of the royal family. They said it themselves. They wanted to still work on and serve on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen, and just couldn't get their way. I shouldn't say get their way. They just couldn't find a compromise with regards to, you know, could we find some middle ground with the press, with the British press, who are, you know, going after Meghan's character consistently, and then the jealousy within the family members, within the other royal members of the family, was getting to be too much for her mental state and emotional state. That's fair. That's 100% fair, you know. But because they couldn't get that, right? They couldn't come to an agreement with regards to that. They felt like they had no choice but to leave. But otherwise, they would still be part of that family, still enjoying all that privilege. And they still have plenty of privilege, right? They've made hundreds of millions of dollars in the last couple of years her since leaving. Opportunities that have been afforded them would not be afforded to anyone else, but there's interest there because they come from a royal family, which means nothing, absolutely nothing. From a holistic, spiritual standpoint, it means zero. Like, there's not, how do you, it's like we're reading a fairy tale. It's like, this can't be real life. There are people that live behind forts and castles. Like, what? Who don't have to work but live off of taxpayer money. I mean, it's just the whole thing. It's a piss take, honestly. It's so funny. I have to laugh because otherwise you will cry at the ridiculousness of it. And at times I do want to cry, but listen, neither here nor there. So it's not even that they're against all of that. So even them, with their whole, we still want to be able to serve, our personal causes, and we still want to be cause driven and yada yada yada. Even there's a little bit of like, you guys would have still been living at Frogmore Castle or Windsor Palace or whatever. Frogmore Cottage, which if I'm not mistaken is on the Windsor Palace grounds. Still been enjoying all of that, all the perks that come with that, and the exclusivity that come with that. If you could have just made some middle ground with regards to, how the press were treating Meghan and the jealousy that was, I guess, stirring up in the household, in the family, based on her initial success and her popularity. So both sides, they both want to preserve pretty much the same thing when you really look at, when you step back. But this is not about that. Here we are, 26 minutes in, and I'm finally going to get to my own bias. My bias was, I allowed myself to get swept up in the nonsense and the division because, frankly, it's almost like a fairy tale. Here she is, a mixed girl who, doesn't really, I don't know how much she identifies as black. I find it interesting, though, that she has a black mother that raised her, and yet she's always been, most of her friends have not been black, and her partners, even her previous husband, and the people that I know she dated in Toronto were not melanated either. So I find all of that really interesting. Because typically you kind of lean in towards, like, if you're a mixed child, and I'm not mixed, so I can't even speak really from experience, but it's been my experience just from observation that children who are mixed kind of lean into the side of whomever they spend the most time with, whomever their primary caretaker is. And in the case of Meghan, it was her mom, right? She was very, very melanated. There's no confusion there that that's a black woman. But Meghan herself said that she was never treated as black. Her agent said that he didn't even know that she was mixed, and she could pass, and so she did. Whether she did it consciously or intentionally, I don't know. But she, has not really been drawn to black people, seemingly. And kind of, I jumped on that bandwagon a little bit, like, ooh, that kind of stings. But hey, whatever, it's your life. But beyond that, like, her life has been really kind of a fairy tale. Like, she's very beautiful, like, extremely beautiful, extremely intelligent, right? She went to Northwestern. I think she's got dual degrees. She spent some time in Brazil, in Argentina, learning Spanish. I know at one point she was also speaking French. She's pretty self-made in that she had to audition all the way, she had to audition to get her position, her breakout role in Suits, and create a little bit of comfort for herself that way. And then she meets a prince. After being divorced, she meets a prince. It happens to be the most famous royal family on the planet. He courts her. They have a beautiful love story. They go on to have a beautiful wedding. All the rest of that. And so I think probably there's an element of like, oh wow, this is a bit fairy tale like, and all the rest of that. Even though I know that because we're on this planet, there's a lot of duality, so it wasn't a fairy tale for her in many regards. But still, she got to see behind the curtain wall, right? That most of us won't ever see. She had a seat at the table, even if it was just momentarily. And maybe some would argue that she's still sat at the table because of who she's married to. Maybe it's a different table. right? But she has definitely made herself one of the most famous, most photographed people on the planet, not unlike Diana. And with that comes a great deal of, again, privilege and access, albeit differently than before, because she's no longer technically a member of the royal family. But again, she really chooses to be, to hold on to that title of Duchess of, what is it, Sussex? Which I'm kind of like, why do you continue to want to be addressed that way? Because at one point, Prince Harry was like, you can just refer to me as Harry. He went public I remember in England, in London, just before he returned to Canada, where he's like, you can just call me Harry now. Because they had been stripped of their royal titles. But now they're both going by Duchess and Duke. And I suspect they're doing it to some degree to appease their publishers and Netflix and whomever they've partnered up with, podcasts and what have you. But I also feel like she doesn't want to give that up because she's like, I made it. I don't know. Anyways, the point is, I was hating on her for a couple of things, but I was intellectualizing the hate, which makes it even worse. And now I just, see her as a girl that was very blessed. Maybe some would say equally blessed and equally cursed. And has a beautiful story, had a picture-perfect wedding, maybe a picture-perfect courtship. Now she has, quote, a picture-perfect family. And so it all looks great. And so it's kind of easy to, want to be negative towards her, but there isn't a need. There isn't a need. And so watching it back kind of helped me to come out of that mindset and just be like, hey, this was her blessing. And it all worked out. And so what if she got a title out of this and a wedding that was paid for in part by me as a Canadian who, yes, our tax money did go towards that wedding. Such is life. Whatever. Anyways, I'm going to sign off because I've got errands to run. See you all later. Bye. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just finished teaching and look at me wearing some color, a smidgen of color. These are my groceries apparel leggings. The avocado, I believe that they are colored using avocado compost or avocado skin or hey, listen, I don't work for groceries apparel, although I would like to collaborate with them. I just wear it. Organic cotton, so toxic free, vegetable dyed, toxic free. This jumper also, my standard black. I like to keep it kosher that way. And even this t-shirt that I'm wearing, which is actually not groceries apparel, it's my Czech Institute t-shirt. Even this is organic cotton, because we don't just walk the walk. We don't just talk the talk. We walk the walk, yeah. Happy Thursday. Good morning, fam. It's like 10 to 10. I just was finishing up at the studio, and now I'm en route to get my coffee. I don't know how many of these I'm going to have going forward. So, all right. First, let me say two things. Hope you all are doing well, first and foremost. Hope you all are doing well. So yesterday, I don't know that I did a good point sort of summarizing or getting to the point with the whole Meghan Markle thing. So I think I'm going to try to come back to that and just wrap it up for you in a more concise, hope you all can hear me in a more concise way, because I know I can be very long-winded. And then secondly, the reason why I just said I don't know how many more coffees I have left is because I was watching that video that Little Black Book did yesterday sometime, with the title of like Beyonce ruined my relationship. It's like a couple, it was basically, I guess, a couple that rang into either like a podcast show or a radio station and was like, they're on the outs because the woman wants to go see Beyonce and she's wanting to withdraw $1,000, I guess, from their joint account. And her partner is like, no, we are saving up for a house. You know that this money is for a house. Don't take money out for a Beyonce concert when we have goals. So,
hearing Kojo and the other gentleman that he had on as a guest speaker on that live, I was like, man, I really need to get my finances in better order. They haven't been great since the scamdemic. And then moving also hasn't helped, because whilst I have a really amazing and wonderful, supportive, hubby who, there's definitely provision there. So I'm not worried about the necessities or anything like that. I've just not been able to get myself back to where my finances were pre-COVID-19. So something I really want to work on. And, hearing them sort of go back and forth about when you have a goal and you have a partner and you guys have come to an agreement, how you shouldn't move away from that agreement or push the goal back because of something as frivolous as going to a Beyonce concert. Yeah, it makes sense, to be honest with you. It makes sense. Now, if you have the money and it's no thing and it's not going to set back your goals, then for sure. But when you consider that we are currently living through the greatest transfer of wealth ever, between, $3 trillion in 2020 alone, or between 2020 and 2021, that was transferred from, your middle class, upper class, lower class populace to the 1%. Most people lost money over the last few years, and then the people that were already rich managed to acquire an extra $3 trillion that was lost by the population, and it was divvied up amongst themselves, more or less. There is a lot of validity to that argument that right now is definitely not the time to be playing. And so I'm like, do I need to be getting coffees because it provides comfort? And then on the flip side, I'm like, if I'm doing everything that I need to do and making the money that I'm supposed to be making with my skill level and my education level being what it is, then it also really shouldn't be a thing. Meaning it could be worked into my budget, into that sort of line of miscellaneous or entertainment spending. Because I don't go cinema, and I don't buy clothes. And things like that, and I don't buy makeup. So I could divert that money, once budgeted, to buying coffees, a couple of times a week. But I really just need to, now that I've been here for exactly a year, because I moved to the DMV last February, I got married. Now it's been a year nearly since we've been married. So it's definitely time to sit down, and now that I've, started to slowly but surely create a network between yoga studios and kind of introducing myself to this demographic as a skilled yoga teacher, but also as a holistic practitioner, and budgeting out, what my expenses are as far as my courses, because I'm still in, I'm still in training with the Czech Academy. I'm still taking courses with the Czech Academy. That won't change for the next 3 or 4 years, truthfully. I have to budget for that. And it means that I also have to charge for that. So right now I'm currently finishing up with a client that I'm working with who's an elite athlete as his corrective exercise coach and holistic lifestyle coach. After this particular client and I are finished working together, I'm going to be revamping my whole pricing structure. It's going to be very different from what it is now. So rather than charging people for like a 1-month package or a 3-month package or a 6-month package, you're going to be buying my little dread that broke. I was trying to tuck in. And by the way, I mentioned more of them are going to break because in the beginning phases of my lock journey, I had to interlock because of the texture of my hair. So in order to keep the lock and to get it to lock, they had to interlock. But because now that's resulted in these like little bulbs at the end, you know, those little bulbs are going to fall off. It is what it is. Yes, I'm going to be revamping it. So basically you're just going to buy blocks of hours of coaching, which is what the Czech practitioners that I work with and that mentor me were doing as well. I think initially I priced it the way that I did to make it more accessible to people, but I'm beginning to understand that the reason why Czech practitioners are expensive is, yes, our level of training is extremely comprehensive. You know, it's like part health coach, part physiotherapist, part exercise personal trainer, part osteopath. Like, our training is so comprehensive. So because of that and the fact that we also have to pay a lot for that education, and our skill set is so so unique to the industry, because you don't typically find people that are as have a multidisciplinary approach like Czech practitioners do. That's why I have to truthfully increase my fee significantly to not only validate my skill set and my education, but to also weed out people that are not really about this. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not really about this change, if you're not really about creating a lifestyle change and not coming onto a diet for a few months so you can lose weight for your upcoming holidays or cruise, but like an actual lifestyle change that will mean that you either reverse or avoid altogether 85% of the 85% of the illnesses that, you know, are very common nowadays, and autoimmune issues and skin disorders and, even mental disorders, which many of can be traced to the gut. If you're not ready to actually make a lifestyle change in order to reverse, heal, and avoid, then you shouldn't be working with a Czech practitioner. You know, it's not good for you and it's not good for us. So I think this will also help. I keep hearing something. Oh, it's this guy. Okay. Hi there, good morning. It's the light that's like saying wait. I'm like, who's speaking? Then yeah, then probably a Czech practitioner is not right for you. Maybe a personal trainer, at a gym is right for you, who's just gonna, get you working out, etc., etc. Because we do so much more than that. We, correct musculoskeletal imbalances. We address your sleep-wake cycle, so we can address your hormones. We address your thinking and your mindset, and if that needs improvement, faulty breathing patterns, which will lead definitely to mental health disorders as well as musculoskeletal imbalances in the body. So that's what I mean by our stuff is so in-depth. It's not for everyone, it's for people that are in a particular space and place in their life. And so now that I'm understanding that the people in the DMV have money to spend, and I'm seeing that, definitely seeing that, I can worry about trying to be quote unquote more accessible and just charge a fair rate. And that way I attract the clients that I'm supposed to be working with, who, because they've made a significant investment, are obviously serious about changing their life. And then I can still treat myself to my coffee. Everyone has going to have a miscellaneous line on their in their budget, aren't they? And I may do my nails like once a month. I get my hair done once a month also, because I have to get it retwisted. But I'm already a minimalist. When we're here, we don't eat out, obviously, because we also travel very much. But and so we eat out when we're traveling. But in addition to that, I'm very particular about what we eat, and for our health and wellness, we eat at home. Literally 95% of the time that we're here, we eat at home. So I should be able to work in a bi-weekly coffee if I'm charging people what I'm worth. Speaking of, here we go. This is a PSA to the weather app on the iPhone. I'd like you to please stop playing with us because you said it's going to be 25 degrees today, that it's currently 18 degrees and sunny. It's neither sunny nor does it feel like 18 degrees. And I don't know how we're going to get to 25 degrees and sunny at this rate. That's my PSA. All right, so I have my delicious coffee in hand. I'm gonna go now to Trader Joe's. I know you guys saw me shopping just the other day at Mom's. It was Tuesday, I spent $55, but when you basically eat produce and fruit, you're always having to replenish, which is nothing new to me because truthfully, this is a very European way of living. Like you're always having to replenish the fresh things, even if it's like cured meats and cheeses and butter and milk. And also in Europe, it's very common to have the small refrigerators. Yeah, so I need to go to Trader Joe's today as well as the COSTCO. I noticed they have mangoes back. So I'm going to be bringing some more mangoes. I managed to find a lovely organic papaya at Mom's. You know, just wanting to switch up the varietals of mangoes and bringing in papaya so that we always change up the fruit bowls. It's good for the microbiome. Very good. There's a place around here called Nature Cafe. I've been meaning to check it out. Yeah, so basically, fam, I'm just gonna start charging what I should be charging. And then this will be in my miscellaneous line. And by the way, I did get these at a better rate because around Thanksgiving and Christmas, they were doing this offer where it was like if you bought $100, you got a $25 free gift card. If you topped up your card to like $175 or $200, they gave you $50 of free coffee. So I took advantage of one of those deals and have been using that sort of gift card with the free coffee with the additional amount added. So it's not all shenanigans or waste. I would argue that it's neither shenanigans nor waste because this is what makes me happy. Some people get a new wig a couple of times a year, or you know, get a new acrylic set every 2 weeks. This is what I do. I'm a minimalist. Right, so that's that. The other thing I wanted to say is back to the Meghan Markle discussion that I was having with you all yesterday, is that basically I found myself really just having to, you know, admit that she's, at the end of the day, I'll just wait, stand by. I needed to walk away from that noise because I don't want to scream into my phone. Yeah, that basically, you know, I don't know that she's deserving of all of this vitriol and to jump on board because it feels good. Why does it feel good? We have to ask ourselves, really and truly, we have to ask ourselves, because a lot of people have a lot of vitriol for this woman. They don't know her, never met her, you know, and it's like, why? Is it because we're jealous? Because she met a prince, fell in love, you know, had a beautiful courtship that led to a beautiful marriage and now has a beautiful family and lives in a beautiful home. It's not like she's not paid for those things in other ways. So let's really be salam. I love seeing Habesha people everywhere. Love it. I need to not only learn Tigrinya, but also learn Amharic. And I can really speak with my brethren, with my fam. Yeah, anytime we get onto this cancel culture or, you know, start to spew hate at people, it's like we have become desensitized to the fact that they're just humans. And when we really look at it, you know, it's probably because there's a certain amount of envy. Like, it was so easy for me to be like, yeah, she's manipulative and she created this, because everyone else was saying that, or at least, you know how the algorithms work. They're sending you more of what you already believe in, which is horrible, because just like you need diversity for your microbiome and your gut, you need diversity in your information sources as well, and your vantage points and your viewpoints. Really and truly, like for mental health, you absolutely need this. Variety is key. So of course, all the algorithms, because I watched one panel on, how she's trying to destroy the royal family. The YouTube algorithm was just feeding more into that. And so I was like, yeah, she is manipulative and she is this and that and the next. I don't know any of that to be true, but I do know that she's a human being, who's beautiful, who has an amazing body, and maybe some people are hating because of that. A gorgeous set of hair, took the most popular royal in the family, in that, he picked her. When I say she took him, I mean like he picked her. Of all the women he could have had, he picked her. And she's beautiful and she's intelligent and she's well-spoken and she had her own thing going. I remember at one time I had read that she was worth $4 million before she even got together with him. So she had her own life, she had her own resources, she had her own success. She had already done several seasons of that show that she was on, Suits, I believe. So why are we hating on her? And him being the one really in power didn't have to do any of this. He could have chosen someone else. He had his pick. He had, literally his choice of the litter. Could have found somebody who would have fit the mold or yada, 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 as he said it himself. He chose the person that he's destined to be with, that he believes he's destined to be with. So, and everything else that they've encountered since that has made him make this choice based on what's happened to his mother. So again, really easy to jump on the vitriol, let's hate that woman bandwagon. She's not perfect, I get it. She's definitely an actress at times. She's also a human, who fell in love with a man, who married a man and, created a beautiful family with that man. So she's entitled to her, opportunity at having a good life, and making a decent living and raising her children in the best way that she can, and having a companion. The world is a better place when more people are happy, content, have the ability to do and do for themselves, when they have the ability to, have a beautiful home life and work life, then they become greater contributors. They become a reflection of what society can be when people are not lonely, depressed, angry. Everyone has the right to fall in love, meet the person of their dreams, and build the life of their dreams together. That's all I'm saying. So I'm officially off that hater bandwagon. I was allowing myself to be manipulated, and when I started to really look at the fact that I was contextualizing the hate, that's when it was like, okay. I shouldn't say the hate, the dislike. For somebody that I don't know, I've never met. Well, probably never know or meet. And that honestly doesn't impact my life one way or the other. So on that note, we can stop talking about them, about H&M. Oh, but one thing I will say, don't think I didn't peep the indoctrination in the documentary of how you guys were on your, what did they call it? Equal opportunity for the, the inoculation.
Us, what's deeply important is this idea of equity, be it racial equity, gender equity, in this sense, vaccine equity.
Don't think I didn't peep that. I know Netflix. I know what side you're on. You know, and what's funny is if you tried to get any of these people in a room and show them any kind of actual unbiased science and had conversations about the things that are actually happening right now, the people that are dropping, all the people who died suddenly. Anyways, but yeah, of all their quote unquote charitable or cause-driven projects that they have, they had to highlight that one in the documentary. It was like when I was reading at the hair salon last month, I was reading Issa Rae's interview. I don't remember, it was one of the major magazines. I don't remember which one it was. But one of the major mainstream ones, and she was on the cover. And at some point during the interview, I think she was talking about how this is the last shoot, how they were currently at that time shooting the last season of Insecure, yada, yada, yada. And then why at some point in the interview, it just happens to be that on one of the days that the interviewer from the magazine comes in to see her, Issa had apparently just come from having either her first or her second inoculation. Don't normalize this. I'm gonna call it what it is, shit. Keep your medical records to yourself, and don't think for a second that those of us that are conscious don't see how you guys continue to implant this stuff everywhere that you can, but you won't cover why athletes are dropping dead when they have never done so before in the history of mankind. Elite athletes under the age of 35.
Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin collapsed on the field while suffering a heart attack. And over this past weekend in college basketball, Old Dominion player Imo Isin did the collapsing routine himself. And last but not least, last week former NFL player Uche Nwaneri, who called to jail the died suddenly at the age of 38.
You won't address that, but it just started happening, and how the death rate is 40% higher now than it was in 2020 and even in the early part of 2021. Okay guys. Oh, it makes my blood boil. It makes my blood boil. Every side has two stories. Every side has two stories. You can't just cover one and say everything is yada, yada, yada. I'm not gonna use the buzzwords that they were using. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. There are two sides. Okay, you guys pushed it. Now show the whole picture. Show the whole picture, because if Tylenol has adverse effects, okay? If Tylenol has adverse effects, if acetaminophen, whatever, paracetamol, that's where it is, paracetamol, if Advil, all of these things that are over the counter, shoot, if your plan B has adverse effects, now all of a sudden there's a product that has no polarity. It's just healthy for you. It's cute. It's cute. Stop. I need you all to stop, yeah? Just stop with that. Oh my gosh. Gotta know, fam. For me, it's really hard. It's really hard for me as a holistic lifestyle coach to see all these products that are being perpetuated as hydrolyte this and, excuse me, not hydrolyte, electrolyte this and hydrate that. When literally nature already has given you everything that you need to hydrate yourself with, and that is water. And if you're needing electrolytes, well, guess what? Add a pinch of sea salt. You shouldn't even taste it. Bam, more. There's your electrolyte. See, I'm distracted because I see shiny things. And structured water, you know, all you need to do that, to have that, is just add a little bit of lemon juice or fruit. Actual fruit, not actual like juice from a carton. So pretty, right? Who would have thought? I'm gonna try a couple of these out. I always want to, but there's no one around. There's some really pretty things here. I'm mostly interested in this stuff. Why isn't there anyone around? Ever. Whenever I want to look at stuff. Jeez. Anyways, I'm not here for jewelry today. But yeah, so one of the things that's really difficult for me as a lifestyle coach and as a holistic practitioner is just, again, how you know, consistently Mother Nature gets overlooked or is devalued, as if she's not providing hydration that is adequate. The body is only designed actually to drink water, nothing else. These are pretty. These are so pretty. Huh. The body is only designed to drink water, nothing else, literally. That is your hydration, and it is perfect as it is. When it has been left alone and not tampered with and hasn't been taken through processing plants and bleached because, you know, it's toilet water that's been recycled, sewage water that's been recycled, when that hasn't taken place and it's just natural spring water from a mountain or a fresh water source, it is perfection. It is hydration. It is the yin and the yang coming together, you know, you and it. There is nothing greater than that. And so all of these products that come out that claim to hydrate you, but they're colored, or they hydrate you and they have electrolytes, is bollocks. Is bollocks. They're discrediting Mother Nature, and they're trying to get you to buy a product that actually you don't need, because they don't want to tell you that nature's already given you what you need, because they can't make the maximum amount of profit from you if that were the case, right? So they need us relying on them. They need us, you know, to put all of our needs into their sort of control so that they can do what? Control us. Anyways, here we are. These are the mangoes I actually came for this time, because last week we had the other ones. Last week we had those guys. The Ataulfo mangoes. This time I want these guys, whatever these guys are. And then the other game that they play with us, right, is that they're like, oh, you know, buy this product because it's enriched and yada, yada, yada. Well, if you didn't remove and deplete the soil, like remove the nutrients in the soil and remove the nutrients in the food itself because you have tampered with it to the point where it's depleted, it's no longer whole, it's been processed, or perhaps you have, you know, created a situation where the topsoil is virtually lifeless due to crash crops. You're not rotating the crops which are growing annually. You're not giving the soil rest. Then, of course, if you're going to do all that foo-la-la, of course, you're going to have food that's depleted. So again, it's the games for me, it's the trickery. So now they're going to have to enrich something that they've depleted. How about you just don't deplete? How about you grow food biodynamically without chemicals? You know, how about you stop lying to us and with, you know, with this whole narrative of, well, we need to spray chemicals that are toxic and that legitimately lead to cancer, so that everyone has enough food to eat. So the options are there's not enough food, or everyone or people are forced to eat foods that have been sprayed that will eventually cause to autoimmune issues, and other ailments. Those are the options. And has that ever been tried? Because it's not the first time that a theory, a hypothesis has been incorrect. Would it be? Again, there are many examples of that, of when science had estimated A, B, and C, and they were wrong, Oh, good, these are still on sale. I'll get these for the kiddo. But who am I lying to? Myself, because I ate them mostly last time. They're grain-free, so it's one of the things I can have, Maybe I'll get two. Yeah, let me get two. So did I tell you guys that I was thinking of giving up grains for Lent, and also because I'm working on my gut health? So that's not enough of a sacrifice, I've decided, because, well, look, I can get grain-free just about anything, thank God. So it's not really a sacrifice when you're able to just replace things with other things, is it? It's not really an offering. So, are you guys ready for it? Decided to give up cannabis for 40 days. I've done it before. I've done it for longer periods of time. So it's not a huge deal. Is this not on sale by any chance? Not on sale, but it is a decent price. Should I get it? Think about that. I've done it for longer periods of time, for sure. It's not impossible for me, but any stretch of the imagination. Manuka honey, not on sale? Okay, I'll hold off. So, yeah, I guess that's what I'll do. Is I'll give up the, should I get more oil? I feel like I should. Nothing is on sale though. Yeah, so that's what it is. I'm gonna give up for 40 days and 40 nights. She will be without cannabis, which means that I will not have the munchies, and so I don't need to be finishing up the chips. The chips for the boy. The cauliflower crust, I don't know if this is grain-free or not, but that's not for me anyways, it's for the hubby. This too I can't have. This popcorn is a grain, but I need to have something in the house for the boys. So hubby and the bonus son need to have snacks. So I quite like those guys, the harvest snaps. But I like the wasabi ones. The wasabi ones I used to always get in Canada. Green peas, vegetable oil, no bueno, that's code for soy. Rice, salt, not even sea salt, but salt. Oh God. It's not the worst thing out there, that's for sure. It is technically grain-free, but it's the soy. It's that cheap oil that bothers me. And it's what, the second ingredient on there? Or was it the third? Let me see. Mom also likes these. It's like the second ingredient. Jeez Louise. Because Mom also likes them, and she's coming out next month, so also want to have a couple of things for her. Do we want to get some of these snacks? No, not the fish, but like these guys. The nori, seaweed, sea salt. These are quite good, right? Aren't they meant to be? No, I'm not an expert on Asian food. Seaweed, organic sunflower oil, and salt. Not the best oil, not the worst either. So what do you get from this particular, like what is it dense in? This, nothing. It's not particularly dense in anything, actually. How is that possible? 1 gram of fiber? nothing. So it's just empty calories, as you can see. They don't even say it's a good source of yada yada yada. I guess because it's not. I guess it's just empty calories. Let's see what else. What else do I need? Stand by. Okay, so this is my second time in Costco this month. I typically don't come twice in a month, but this is that month where we are replenishing loads of things. So these were on sale, and last time I bought those, like a decade ago, I found that they lasted a long time. $20, because otherwise if you buy a single razor, it's like anywhere between like $10 and $12. And then I needed to get some Ziploc bags. I got this for the hubby, some snacks, some more organic bananas over here, as I'm pointing the camera down here. But I wanted to just go over these ingredients with you guys, why I picked these. So cassava, right? So we know it's grain-free. Avocado oil, coconut sugar as opposed to cane sugar or some other sugar, agave syrup. Both, by the way, coconut sugar and agave syrup are alkaline. Pumpkin powder, cinnamon, psyllium husk powder, sea salt, vanilla powder. So as far as snacks go, you know, if you're going to be eating things that come in bags as opposed to things that come in forms like this and these guys over here, the mango, then you know that's pretty much as clean as you're going to get. Oh, and also I forgot, I got some spring water. I got this brand because the other brands down there were like primarily purified, and I guess I was just telling you all, purified water is recycled toilet water. So you get your spring water, it has minerals. And the reason why that's important is because if you put something in your body that is mineral deficient, it will start to pull the minerals out of your body in order to replenish its own depletion. So starting with your teeth. Have a think about that. See these guys right here, I've had them before. They taste simply delicious, not being funny, but there we go. The sunflower oil, you know, some the tapioca. What do you do? But considerably more affordable, but again, pay now or pay later. The perils of being conscious when it comes to food procurement. So, all done. All done. The sun is finally coming out, although there are plenty of clouds, so we're still a ways from that sunny forecast that was predicted. Oh, wait. Predictions are sometimes off? You don't say. You don't say. And it definitely doesn't feel like it's 25 degrees centigrade out there, but hey, it's all good. It's all good. So I forgot to tell you all that I bought the bottled water because I always keep water in the trunk, in the boot. Yeah, because I consume loads of water. And so does the hubby, actually. And so, you know, when we're out and about, like, does it make sense for us to spend, you know, $6, $7, $8 on 2 bottles of water? No, it doesn't, right? It makes sense to spend 6 something, which is still too much, to be honest. Welcome to inflation in this here year 2023. But it makes more sense, I think, to spend $6 and change and have 40 bottles of spring water in the boot at all times, so that you're not having to run into a convenience store and pay premium, you know. So that's why we do it. That's why I do it. I started doing it years ago. Like, oh man, almost 10 years I've been doing this. Any vehicle that I have, I always keep
a case of water at home, in the boot, because I actually have water delivered to the house, spring water, so I don't need to buy these for the house. And this is filled with spring water that I bring from home. But once I run out of this, right, then rather than pop into a shop and spend a ridiculous amount of money, I just keep these nearby. Helpful tip, I hope. Maybe you tell me. So we have a check call again later today. Wow, the check call I was on yesterday, the webinar, paradigm shifter. How I wish I could share that with the public. My gosh, how I wish. So many gems. But those are not available, unfortunately, for public consumption. So all I can do is implement the things that I learn into my own life, and then also, share them with my clients in terms of how I'm able to coach them. Holy smokes. And it was part 1 of a 3-part series on mental health. Paradigm shifter. My gosh. Floored. No words. The part 2, the next part will be actually in 1 month's time. And which is great because it'll give me time to really absorb and re-watch the webinar, because we have access to the video through our student portal. So I'm definitely going to go back in and view it 1, 2, 3 times with this check stuff, because it's so layered, and because we are complex as human beings, and we are spiritual body, emotional body, energetic body, mental body, etc. It's so layered, and so I find myself re-watching the videos and even retaking the courses that I've already completed over and over again, just because you're always taking new information out. One of the faculty guys was telling us that he's re-watched the videos 20 to 30 times, on every level that he's completed his check training in, because again, you're always going to pull out different information. That's what makes the check system so unique, is that it really acknowledges and it honors the fact that we're not just physical. One of the things that the webinar talked to us about yesterday pertaining to mental health is, psychology or psychiatry is always addressing sort of the contents in the minds, and how do you cope or manage the contents of the mind. But what about the mechanics of the mind? The mechanics of the mind, or the mind can be like an untamed animal, or they could have an imbalance due to primarily gut health, which is where like 90% of your happy hormones, your serotonin, are developed, is in the gut. So of course, if your gut is not healthy, if you've got leaky gut syndrome, or other issues with your gut, which I do, right, and I have suffered with both depression and anxiety, and this is also why I'm doing grain-free, because I am working on repairing my gut. That's why it can be very challenging for people to find mental health, because the gut is considered also the second brain in many cultures and societies. Know what I mean, Jelly Bee? So, paradigm shifter. So if you want to get healthy, if you want to reverse OCD, things like that, and I have also OCD, just keeping it really transparent with you guys, needing to work on my gut health. So, man, really informative. Anyways, guys, have to let you go. Have things to get to. Speak to you soon. Bye. So we got there in the end. It's 3 o'clock now, so I'm not sure exactly when it turned, but now the weather is legit warm, like 25 degrees centigrade as promised. Clear skies. So it feels really good. We got there in the end. And the hubby tells me we're going for a hike. So, off we go. Hey guys.
No, this is not the hike that I told you all about yesterday, although that hike was lovely. We ended up going to this place called Great Falls over in Falls Church or McLean area. Not exactly sure. It was quite a drive, but and it was unexpected because it was on a Thursday after work. Well, ish. We left around 3 or shortly after 3. And it was so lovely. Where's my shadow? And it was so lovely. It was a really nice way for the hubby and I to just get some movement in together, even though I had practiced yoga yesterday and he had gone to the gym. It was a nice way for us to come together. Ah, there she is again. And do something together and spent some quality time on what was an unusually warm summer-like day in Feb. So that was really lovely. And now it's almost 2:45 on Friday. And I've not been vlogging today because I had a horrible sleep. Like, horrible. I don't even have words. I was tossing and turning, having bad dreams. The whole thing was just completely just unfortunate and unforeseen and inexplainable. I guess it just happens, you know. I had been so tired after, you know, having had such a full day because we didn't get back home until, it was 7. So, you know, at that time, coming home, and thankfully dinner was already prepped and on the stove, but I literally had a smoothie and showered and went to bed. I was out shortly after 9, before 10 for sure. I thought I was going to have amazing sleep, wake up today, get in hours of studying in the morning so that I can get some more rest in the afternoon. Also had planned to practice first thing in the morning, so then I could go into my studies. I'd planned to watch, you know, a Netflix show or two in the afternoon because this evening I have to, this evening I'll be going to collect my bonus son. We have him on alternating weekends. So this is our weekend with Coco. And, you know, that's how I saw my Friday going. Because going forward, I've pretty much decided unless I absolutely need to or want to, right, as I'm not going to take clients on Fridays or pick up additional classes, teaching classes, like as in substitute teaching as a yoga instructor. I really just want my Fridays to be a day where I can catch up on my studying if it's needed, depending on how the week went or not. And if I don't need to catch up on my studying, then I can use it as a rest day. Because like I said to you all earlier, this year is going to be about, you know, the path of least effort, taking more time to rest, taking more time to heal, taking more time to create just a more Zen-like state for myself internally and externally. So that's what I'm really feeling like I need. Maybe because of all the travel that we did towards end of last year. Last year was amazing. You know, I moved here early on in the year. I got married, settled into life, started teaching whilst I was still very much in my, you know, coursework with the academy, with the Czech Institute. And it was just go, go, go. And there was loads of travel last year. Started off with Nigeria, which was amazing. And then New York, and then San Diego, and then Canada. And then, there was Ethiopia in November, December, and then Eritrea in January. So it was really busy. And there were a lot of highs and lows, as one would expect, coming into a new environment, moving into a new city, returning back to the US after having spent a year in Canada, and also being in a new marriage, being a newlywed, so no longer dating, no longer being long distance. A great year, a wonderful year, and also just the time of great deal of movement. Good afternoon. It was a lot. It's been a lot, with a couple of low points for sure. And the lows, unfortunately, were pretty low. So really just, I'm craving this need to just not travel. I'm craving, I'm having this need to I'm craving to just, kind of nestle in and nest at home and create structure that is affirming of how I want to feel and look and live. That's really what I want to work on. Whilst I'm creating, also a network here, meeting new ladies, new women, creating new friendships, and having, or needing rather, some bandwidth and energy for that, because that's important. My nearest group of friends is really 4 hours away from here. I'm back in New York City. And it's not New York that I miss, although there are things about New York that I miss for sure, such as the amazing food and, of course, my home studio there. It's mostly, though, the connections that I have, the relationships, the ability to ring a girlfriend up, or the ability to walk down, many streets in Brooklyn and run into someone I know and just casually turn that into a catch-up, whether it be at the local donut plant or some other great cafe. Yeah, shout out to Crown Heights. I wouldn't trade the life that I have now. I'm very happy with my marriage and with a slower pace. I'm just wanting to I'm yearning to create some friendships with women so that there's a balance of, what I get from my partner versus what I get from my girlfriends. So, I don't know if you can tell, but my energy is a little bit low today, which is why I'm not turning the camera to myself. Yeah, I just wanted to check in and chat. Maybe offload. And yeah, say hello. How are you all doing? Are you feeling high, low, indifferent about 2023? Somehow we are about to go into the third month of this year already. It's not just a feeling that time is going more quickly, it's a fact. We are definitely, time has been sped up. Don't know the ins and outs of the science behind it, but I've heard it said by more than one of my mentors who do have the language and the verbiage to go into it. And we can certainly feel it, right? How did we get to end of February? It was literally just beginning of January. Anyways, I'll let you all go. Maybe I'll be able to make up for today. Over the weekend, typically I try not to vlog on the weekends. I try to make that about, just more me time, family time. But maybe if anything comes up worth vlogging, I'll loop you all in, yeah? And if not, have a great weekend and I'll see you next week. Bye.